Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with certified financial fiduciary Tim Wood.
Let's sit down and make an actual plan, and we have definitely got to factor in that retirement danger zone. I wish to God someone had sat down and done that with my dad. We wish we would have known about these things.
Tim is a retirement and income planning expert, best-selling author, and the founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim focuses on wealth management, retirement income, tax and long-term care planning, and so much more.
Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. You've got an 87% chance of success. Well, son, that's a 13% chance of failure.
And now, the Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood.
And we welcome you into this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show. As always, we're here with Tim Wood. He's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. My name's Kevin McAlpin, and Tim and I wish you and yours a very happy holiday season, and we thank you so much for spending part of it with us here on the show. Coming up in just a few moments, a really special guest is going to join the program. Trisha Yearwood, country music superstar, had an opportunity, and I would say, Tim, typically you had a chance to sit down with her. She had a chance to sit down with you recently and talk about her new Christmas album and a lot of other great topics, including that amazing concert we saw in Nashville just a few weeks ago. We'll hear that conversation coming up shortly, but first things first, I do say hello to the man of the hour, the star of the show, and my buddy Tim Wood. And Tim, it's always great to be with you, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Kevin, and I hope you're doing well. Hope everyone is enjoying the season and ready for Christmas and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, it was amazing getting to sit down with Trisha and talk to her and get to know her on a personal level and, have the food she made. I mean, it was absolutely an amazing experience, and getting to spend time with her was great, and talking about all the Christmas stuff. I mean, y'all are going to hear it here in just a minute. It was awesome.
It really was. New Christmas album is out now, so if you're out and about, you're doing some holiday shopping, you're looking for that last minute gift idea. Tim, you've had a chance to hear the album. I know that we'll talk about some of the songs on the album coming up here in just a little while, but what a great collection it was, and to hear some of those songs live for the very first time at a venue like we saw in Nashville. Isn't that just incredible?
Yeah, that venue. If anyone hasn't ever been to the Symphony building in downtown Nashville, oh my gosh, yeah. It's just next level. I mean, and it was decked out as much as you in your mind could possibly imagine a symphony orchestra building being decked out for Christmas. It wasn't it, man? I mean, there was Christmas stuff everywhere, and it was stunning. But yeah, we have listened to that her whole new Christmas album, and it is amazing. We really like the Merry Christmas Valentine song. If anyone hasn't heard that and heard the story behind it, we'll talk about it a little bit with her in the interview coming up here in a second. But it's great. She's got several other songs on there that are really good. Yeah, I would recommend, was you're out running around, or maybe even for opening presents, you could go ahead and get that in the background. It's great. It's fantastic.
We will play that interview that Tim Wood and his lovely bride Melissa had with Trisha Yearwood coming up here in just a matter of moments. But I got to be honest with you, Tim. I think one of my favorite things that happened those entire 2 days we were in Nashville, when she was speaking at the concert, when she was doing the Q&As with us in Trisha's kitchen, which is modeled after her kitchen in her house. For those folks who are unaware, she's married to Garth Brooks, but she kept saying, the guy I live with. She didn't even mention Garth's name. It was, that guy, you may have heard with him. He's my roommate.
Yeah, she did.
That was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. What about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I guess when you're married to someone that's that famous, I mean, it kind of would be like that's what Travis Kelce is going to have to say when he does interviews coming up, in future years. He's going to wind up having to say, that girl I'm married to. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same thing. Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, the show was just next level, being there and then being in her kitchen for the Q&A. But man, then we got to eat her food.
Oh, man.
She literally picked the menu that we were going to get to eat for lunch in her kitchen, that her staff prepared with her recipes. Man, I mean, steak was next level. The chicken was amazing. The Brussels sprouts, the dessert. But we got to talk about those biscuits.
Oh, man.
I think that's the best biscuit I have ever had in my entire life. And yes, we have already gone to get the recipe off online, and Melissa's going to make them.
Nice.
That's happening.
Nice.
Yeah, that's already in the works. Yeah, the food was just unbelievable, next level. And then going right, from that into the interview, man, what a great day.
So engaging, so personable, and obviously, if you're not familiar with Trisha Yearwood's music, check out her new album. It's perfect for the holidays, those last-minute gift ideas, and obviously, Tim Wood and his wife Melissa had a chance to sit down with Trisha, talk all things about the concert, her new album, and more. So without further ado, here's that conversation from a couple of weeks ago in Nashville.
The show last night was amazing. I mean, as you know, with the Nashville Symphony Orchestra, I mean, first of all, how can you go wrong in that venue, right?
Oh my goodness, that building. Isn't it beautiful? Stunning.
And it was a great show. We absolutely love the new album. We really love Merry Christmas Valentine. That's our favorite. But I got to point out at the very end, you can see what's happening to her. What you sang at the very end really got to her.
Those are core memories of watching Wizard of Oz with my mom.
I don't know if you, the song I did earlier, When October Settles In, was about my mom. And that's what music is supposed to do. Wizard of Oz, and I watched that. When I was a kid, you couldn't just stream anything, right? And so you waited once a year
to watch it at Christmas.
Yes. And so I have that same memory. And that's what music is. That's why music is so great.
That's what it does for me. The goosebumps, the memories. That's it.
That arrangement, and if you go back, it's on the Let's Be Frank album. If you go back and listen, the way that Vincent Mendoza wrote the intro sounds like a movie. It's like you're feeling, that what's coming, because that preamble, that pre-verse was, nobody ever did it. Judy Garland sang it like once on a show. Most people don't know it.
You started it, and I went, and I sat up, and I thought, is she gonna? Because you can kind of hear it, and I thought,
right,
she's gonna. And then when you started, he was sitting behind me. I smacked him. I was like, I was done.
Well,
I was done.
Great. It was a great
moment. Thank you. I'm glad.
So what's your favorite Christmas song on the new Christmas Time album? What's your favorite? Is it Merry Christmas Valentine?
It probably is. I mean, it's tough for me to pick, because there's another song on there called Years that's a really emotional song about going home at Christmas. And it was written by a friend of mine named Beth Nilsson Chapman. And I've known this song since 91, I think, because she and I have been friends a long time, and she's recorded it, but I always wanted to record it. But it's a happy song about going home, but because it so remembers family, I tear up.
Thank you for not singing.
So to sing it is really hard for me. But probably Merry Christmas Valentine. I mean, it's when you hear Garth sing on it, and then in the studio at the very end, he says, "Merry Christmas, baby." That was not planned. And when he did that, I'm like, oh, you've just stolen the whole song. That's all. And it makes me emotional. It does.
I know that she absolutely loves watching you cook, because you cook normal stuff.
I make real food, yeah.
Yeah.
You do, like that real people make.
Yeah.
That real people make. What's your favorite meal to make for your family at Christmas? What does your family like you to make? I mean, is it the biscuit that we had?
Oh, yeah,
lunch?
we just had biscuit. Oh, my, that's the best biscuit I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, well, I'm married to a carb guy and a bread guy. And so that drop biscuit, which I make a bigger version, is, at every meal. Whether you get, and even at Thanksgiving, if we have dressing, which is very carb loaded, there's still mashed potatoes. There's still, it's just so many carbs, so much bread. But the thing I make at Christmas, that we do a cookie party, but everybody gets to make their favorite cookie that they grew up on. All my friends come over. But I make a coconut cake that my mom used to make, and she would make this every Christmas, a coconut cake and ambrosia. And that's Christmas to me. So I will make that every year, no matter what else we're having.
I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. We watched you on the Disney Christmas Spectacular the other night when it was on TV on Monday. We both worked in entertainment at Walt Disney World.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I performed and he did audio. What was it like for you to perform at Walt Disney World in front of Spaceship Earth?
I mean, I have had a chance to perform at Disney a few times in my career, and it's just magic, right? It's just magical. You become a kid. I've heard people talk about Disney adults, but I don't think you're always a Disney kid. And you walk in that park, And there's just something about it. And I was lucky growing up in Georgia that we went to Disney World. It wasn't like so far away. You know, it didn't take, we'd go halfway down, spend the night with my grandparents in South Georgia, then we'd go to Disney. And it was always amazing. So, I mean, you just can't, you can't help but get in the Christmas spirit too. It's just so cool.
And I think you said you can't walk in here without smiling.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, it just makes you happy.
I feel that way. I mean, it's home for us. It's where we met.
Yeah, it is.
Working at Disney.
That's cool.
Goes all the way back.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
On Kelly and Mark, last week or week before recently, you said that you were a huge fan of, y'all talked about Broadway, and you said you were a fan of Broadway. If you were to maybe one day do a guest appearance on Broadway, what role do you think you would want?
Well, I used to want to be Glinda in Wicked, but now I'm too old to be Glinda. I don't know. You know, I've had a couple of opportunities to fill in for a couple of shows, but you have to really, it's like, even if you're filling in, it's 3 months of your life, you know, and I just haven't been able to do that. So my folks talk about a Trisha Yearwood kind of show, but I would really love to be a character in somebody else's story. Yeah. So I don't know. I've kind of lived my whole life by whatever opportunities came along. I've chosen them if they felt right for me. So we'll see. I would love to do it someday.
We were just in New York and saw Chicago with Mira Sorvino as Roxy Hart. You could totally pull off.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'd have to get my fishnets together.
You could totally do Roxy Hart.
You'd have to.
That would be fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Trisha, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. Anybody, if you get a chance to see Trisha Yearwood in concert, especially during this Christmas tour, it's going to be amazing. She's touring and she's going to be actually getting with the different symphonies in the different towns that she's in. So if she's going to be in your area, make sure that you check it out. Thank you so much, Trisha, for doing this. Appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Tim, what an awesome conversation. And I know sitting in, and for those folks tuning in, they thought, wait a minute, I thought this was a retirement financial radio show. We're going to get to the finances, but we can't put Trisha Yearwood on the back burner, man. We had to get to that first and foremost on the show here today. But man, between the concert, having a chance to sit down, spend some time with her, and selfishly for me, having a chance to have a couple of cocktails with the great Tim Wood, man, it was just a great couple of days in Nashville. I had a blast, man.
Yeah, it was. It was next level. It was awesome. And just getting to sit down with her just one-on-one and having that chat was amazing. I mean, and one of the things you really get to realize when you sit down with someone that's, you know, a superstar or whatever you want to call it, they're just normal people. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's this whole facade and persona of, you know, Trisha Yearwood and lights, you know, dun dun dun. But then when you just sit down with her, she's just Trisha. Yeah. You know what I mean? She was so down to earth and so relatable, you know, and Melissa and her really related. And after, I don't think you were in there for this, but after the whole thing got over, and, you know, we were saying, hey, thanks for doing it. And after the microphones had actually cut, Trisha actually came to Melissa and gave her a hug and said, thank you for sharing that story about your mom. That was, you know, that's why I sing. That's why I do what I do. So it was just really, it was a really cool moment, and just connecting with her on a personal level. So yeah, we're certainly going to talk about finances, and yeah, that's what this show is certainly all about. But it's a very rare honor to get to interview someone of her stature, and we absolutely wanted to share that with everyone as quickly as we possibly could, especially because it's about her Christmas album.
And good grief. And look, full disclosure, for those folks who are our loyal listeners, you know I'm a Philadelphia native. I moved to the South when I was 30 years old. So I didn't get a whole lot of Trisha Yearwood, Tim, when I was growing up in suburban Philadelphia. But man, her voice, if you haven't really had a chance to sit back and appreciate, you know, what she's accomplished in her career and how powerful and just how incredible her voice is, man, it was just a sight to be seen. So, and the good news is, Tim, she's going to be going out on tour in 2026. Right. So, man, if you see she's coming anywhere near you, or if you're out on the road and you're in the same city she is, I would highly recommend going and checking out the concert, because it was just incredible.
Yeah, it was. And she right now, between now and Christmas, is actually touring in, I think she said 11 other places, 10, 11 other places. And when she goes to that town, she's going to be actually performing with the symphony from that town. Like, for example, I don't know if Detroit's on the thing, but if she was, she would be, with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra as she's doing the Christmas show. So, yeah, if you're listening to this and you see that she's going to be in town or anywhere close doing the Christmas show, it's going to be with a symphony orchestra. It's just next level. It's awesome. Yeah.
Really was. Kind of got me in the holiday spirit. Not that I need a whole lot. I mean, I've been watching the Christmas movies. I've been doing the Home Alone and the Christmas Vacation and the Elf.
Christmas Vacation. Yeah, my wife and I just did that this last weekend. You got to watch it. Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. I've got a 10 and a 5-year-old, as you're well aware. And my son Max, who's 10, his favorite part is look, kid's a deer. If you know, you know exactly what happened after that. So if I needed any extra motivation getting myself into the holiday spirit, that was certainly a way to do it. And obviously, Trisha Yearwood's new Christmas album is a great way to enjoy the holidays. I know a lot of folks gathering together with loved ones here over the coming weeks. So make sure you do check that out and get a copy. Maybe get a couple. Stuff them under the tree and give them to your favorite music fans, because you will not be disappointed. Folks, I do promise we're going to talk finances. We're going to talk retirement. We're going to do that on the other side as we continue with this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show alongside Tim Wood. He's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. We'll step aside for a break. Much more coming up right after this.
This holiday season, let Trisha Yearwood bring the magic home with her new album, Christmas Time. Featuring timeless classics like Blue Christmas and heartfelt originals, including Merry Christmas Valentine. Plus, experience the music live on her 12 Days of Christmas Symphony Tour this holiday season. To find dates near you, go to TrishaYearwood.com. Cozy, nostalgic, and unforgettable. Christmas Time is on sale now wherever you buy music and at TrishaYearwood.com. Make this season one to remember with Trisha Yearwood.
Hi, it's Glenn Beck. You've heard me talk about Tim Wood, certified financial fiduciary and owner of Safe Money Retirement for a while now. But what I haven't told you is that he's also a retirement income certified professional. Now, why should you care? Well, maybe you have pre-tax and after-tax retirement accounts, and you need to know how that's going to work. Or maybe you still don't have enough guaranteed lifetime income to cover your monthly bills. Or maybe your entire savings is still exposed to risk. Listen, I met Tim personally, and I can tell you that his team can help you. I want you to write this down, safemoneyretirement.com/Beck. Or call 800-913-SAFE to schedule a no-obligation, free 15-minute discovery call with Tim. You know I don't trust just anyone. So do your own homework on Tim Wood at safemoneyretirement.com/Beck and request a copy of his best-selling book. 800-913-SAFE. safemoneyretirement.com/Beck. Get started today.
And we welcome you back into this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show. As always, we're here with the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary, Mr. Tim Wood. My name's Kevin McAlpin. Hope you're having a great weekend and, of course, a happy holiday season. And we thank you so much for spending part of it with us here on the show. So, Tim, I know we talk a lot on this program about the markets. And, boy, to say that 2025 was, the ultimate thrill ride of the roller coaster is probably selling it a little bit short. But the reason I bring it up, CBS Mornings followed a few couples preparing to retire recently. And after that 20% pullback in the spring, they revisited with Alicia and Chu Gomez just a couple of weeks ago in Boston. Take a listen.
I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. You just hope that if we're going to be on the downturn now, will we be on the upturn when we decide to retire?
All right, so Tim, the Gomez's, they're 57 and 59, and obviously they still want growth, but the question becomes, can they find that growth without relying on that proverbial roller coaster that Mrs. Gomez just mentioned there?
Well, and what she just mentioned actually segues perfectly into what happened to my dad. So I'm going to definitely answer what you just asked. But for those that haven't read my book, and if you haven't, get with us. We'll give you a copy. It talks about how my dad lost 75%, actually over 75% of his retirement in the first 4 years because of exactly what she was just talking about, which is sequence of returns risk. So it depends on exactly when the market goes down as to how your retirement's going to go. If the market goes down in the first few years of retirement, let's call it 5 to 10, it is much more detrimental to your long-term success than if the market goes down 10, 15, 20 years later. So, yeah, I mean, we would hope, but the challenge is we don't know what the market's going to do.
Right.
And the other challenge is if you look overall big picture, yes, it's been up and down and up and down and up and down, but if you look overall the market, like just go back to 2000 or 2010 or whatever to now, we are at a massive amount of growth. And a lot of people, including myself, would kind of call that a bubble. Now, what has happened to every bubble in the history of bubbledom in history ever?
Yeah, usually it's the bubble gum that pops on my face.
Right. Well, any bubble is going to break, and when it breaks, are you ready? And people are all the time asking me, well, when's the best time to make the transition from my growth plan that I've had forever, and I want to make sure, when's the best time to get out? Here's the answer: when the market's at the top. But we don't know when that is. So being prepared and being proactive and knowing that you can take the gains that you've got locked in there now and turn that into a guaranteed income. Turn that into a plan where you can't lose anymore when it does go off that cliff. Now, could it potentially cost you a little bit if the market continues to grow? Sure, it could. But then it can also totally get rid of any losses if the market goes down. So, yeah, there's a fine line there. The way that I normally help people with that, Kevin, is it really kind of depends on where they are in their retirement. Perfect example. 2 days ago, I was on the phone with a gentleman that was 31 years old, and he was talking about, I want to make sure I'm ready for retirement. I'm like, brother, retirement's 30 plus years away for you. You're not even actually you're barely halfway there, not even really. For someone like that, does it make is it really unwise to stay in the market? Not necessarily, because you do have the chance to have more gains. You do. Now, does he also have the chance to lose? Yes, he does. But being that there's 30 years, hopefully he would have the chance to make that back and make some wise moves and whatever. But when someone's in their late 40s, 50s, 60s for sure, and 70s absolutely, you might not have the time. Well, I call it in my book, I talk about the time horizon. You might not have the time to recoup those losses. What Alicia Gomez was talking about, that roller coaster, it can be really scary, and trying to make the jump off the roller coaster and onto something that is much more solid, much more secure, almost like getting yourself a pension. You know what you're going to get. It's 100% guaranteed, all that kind of good stuff. It is an individual thing as to when it's going to make the most sense for each person, but doing it while the market is up that's kind of where I wanted to go with what she said. I mean, doing it, on a roller coaster, if you wanted to get off, you would want to get off right before it went down, right? I mean, that's the scary part of a roller coaster. The going up really isn't scary for anyone unless you're really, really, really afraid of heights. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, that's no big deal. It's going down.
Right.
Well, that's coming. Y'all look at the history of the world, of the history of the market, the history of anything. What goes up, fill in the rest of the blank there. Every time. So make sure you're prepared when the market is at its maximum is the best time to make the changeover and to, get things prepared for retirement. Now, am I saying the market's at its top right now? No. I have no idea. You have no idea. Kevin has no idea.
My crystal ball's broken.
Right. It is. I actually have one. Seriously, I do have one in my office, and it's got a green sticky note on it that says out of order. So unfortunately, my crystal ball is broken.
Yeah.
We don't know. We know right now people have done really well. They've recouped the losses from the last major crash. So when there's a last major crash, what's the next part? There's going to be another coming at some point. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure that you're ready to step off that roller coaster so you can have, the retirement that you're not going to have to worry about where your income's going to come from, where's that pot of money I'm going to need to pull from, whatever it is, whatever your situation is, make sure you're prepared for what's coming.
Yeah, and that all starts with one phone call to Tim Wood and the team at Safe Money Retirement. You want to get on his calendar? You want to learn more? Maybe you're worried about that roller coaster. And boy, this would probably be like, if you've ever gone skiing, the double black diamond is the hardest trail you're going to go on. This felt like a double black diamond roller coaster here in 2025. And if you are approaching retirement, you'd like to learn more about how to put that plan in place so you're not having to worry about the ups and downs of the market, give Tim and his team a call today. 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233 or online anytime at safemoneyretirement.com. And don't forget, Tim mentioned it just a few moments ago. You want to get a complimentary copy of his book. It's also entitled Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. And if you'd like to sit down, schedule that complimentary consultation with Tim. He's also going to throw in a free copy of that book as well with no cost or obligation whatsoever. So again, safemoneyretirement.com. That's the easiest way you can reach Tim and his team. Again, safemoneyretirement.com. So Tim, you may have heard the news a couple of weeks back. The final ever U.S. penny was minted. Now, obviously, retailers were fearing a shortage around the holidays. They went and resorted to rounding up or down to the nearest nickel if you were paying with cash and coins. And Tim, obviously, that sounds like a much more simplified approach to paying. But when it comes to what you do, retirement planning, when would you recommend someone start to simplify their portfolio? Because as we know, those can get quite complicated the older we get.
They can. And this, honestly, Kevin, this is something that you and I probably should talk about more on this show. And that is, as people age, cognitive abilities, and most people, not everybody. I mean, I've got a client actually that's still a client that I just did another deal for that's 88, and he is as sharp as you and I. Yeah. I mean, he is as sharp as a tack. But overall, in general, as we age, cognitive, what you can do starts declining. So the simpler you can make things, again, I'm generalizing, but for the most part, the simpler you can make things as you get older, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be stressed about it. And, you don't have to worry, well, what's going to happen if I get sick or if I get dementia or whatever? If you're set into a guaranteed lifetime income and it's paying and it's dropping into your account, even if, God forbid, you do get into dementia or whatever, something happens, it's still going to be dropping into your account. If you pass away and your wife's still here for another 15 years, it's still going to be dropping into her account. So, yeah, making sure that you can get rid of the complexity, because complexity, sometimes can create confusion, and, complexity also helps you be able to miss opportunities because it's just so complex. I mean, if you look at some plans, there are so many options, it's ridiculous. For me, this is what I do, and sometimes I look at someone's plan when they bring it to me and I'm like, good grief, are you kidding me?
Right.
There's literally 600 options here. How are you possibly supposed to choose? So anyway, yeah, trying to get rid of the complexity, and especially once you get in retirement. And let's pray to God that no one listening ever has problems with dementia, even if that never happens. And even if you stay completely sharp, wouldn't it be nice in retirement to not have the stress, to not have to worry about what's happening in the market, to not have to worry about getting up and, turning on the news and them saying, well, yesterday was the worst day in the market in the last decade or whatever, because that day's coming. Right. It's coming. If we live long enough, the news will say today was the worst day in the last decade. That's coming. Are you prepared? So, having everything. Also, people always talk about diversification. I'm big on diversification, but true diversification isn't necessarily having money scattered across multiple advisors or companies. It's about having a plan that's coordinated and that you have diversified among your needs. So am I saying to put everything in one plan? No. Right. No, I hardly ever say that for anybody unless they've got one specific amount that they need for one specific specific thing, okay, great, let's do that. But no, that's why we do holistic planning. That's why we do a fact finder first to sit down and figure out everything that you might possibly need between healthcare, between long-term care, between life insurance, between guaranteed income, growth with no losses. I mean, I could keep going. Mm-hmm. We're looking at all aspects. So when we're talking about diversification, that's what we're talking about. And we're not necessarily even, saying that you have to be with different companies throughout that. You might or you may not. That's really not the thing. It's diversification based on what your individual needs are. But then again, just going back to simplifying your accounts, making it easier, and also simplifying it on a tax basis. A lot of people are very confused about what are they going to have to pay taxes on and what are they not. Well, if you've got 15 different types of accounts and some are traditional and some are Roth and some's whatever non-qualified means, Tim. I mean, people bring in literally and pile stuff on my desk, and if there's a whole bunch of stuff, yes, it's incredibly confusing. Mm-hmm. Simplifying all of that is going to make your life easier. It's going to make your spouse's life easier when someone gets sick, and it's certainly going to make your dependent's life easier when you and your spouse are both gone, and now they've got all this mess, and if there's 15 accounts, now your son or daughter that has never looked at any of your stuff, probably ever, now is just going to get these 15 pages, and there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now what do I do? They're going to have no clue. So having everything put together just makes it a little easier, and having one point of reference, one point of contact, one certified financial fiduciary that's helping you make a plan in retirement always is a wise idea. And what we'll do is we'll diversify based on what your needs are and getting you into the best plans with the best companies.
If you'd like to learn more, maybe you're approaching retirement, maybe you've got a portfolio and it feels awfully cluttered, it feels awfully disorganized, and you're looking to get your information in order so you can start putting that plan in place for your retirement. Remember, folks, this is not your grandfather's retirement. We're talking 20, 30, even 40 years in retirement. If you'd like to learn more, the first step is calling Tim Wood and his team at Safe Money Retirement. You want to get on his calendar? We do have teammates standing by right now to get you lined up for that complimentary, no obligation consultation. 800-913-SAFE. Again, it's 800-913-7233 or online anytime at safemoneyretirement.com. Again, folks, that website is safemoneyretirement.com. So, Tim, another great show here today, my friend. Of course, we enjoyed the interview with Trisha Yearwood, of course, talking about the market growth without the roller coaster and cleaning up and simplifying that portfolio. Enjoyed it as always, my friend. And before we do run out of time, sir, the floor is once again all yours for the final word.
Thanks, Kevin. Great show. Again, thanks to Trisha Yearwood for being on the Safe Money Retirement Show. It was fantastic having her on the show. I look forward, and all of the listeners can look forward to more of that kind of thing next year. Also, first announcement right here real quick. My wife and I are going to start doing one episode of this show once per month together because we got so much good feedback that people just loved that. So we're going to start doing that coming next year. But what I really want to focus on is what we talked about, the roller coaster. Are you ready to get off that roller coaster? That roller coaster, it goes up and down, and sometimes it's so much it makes your stomach jump up in your throat. Well, when you're getting into retirement, and as most people get older, we get to the point where we just don't like roller coasters. I used to be a huge roller coaster fan. I can remember there was a place called Circus World outside of Orlando that when I was younger, I had a season pass. I rode, I think it was called the Hurricane. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. 32 times in a row without even getting out because nobody was there that day. I just stayed on and rode and rode and rode. I don't know if I could do it once now at my age. And everyone is kind of like that for the most part. People want to get off that roller coaster. Well, what are you going to do to get off that roller coaster? Who do you have on your side? Who is watching for your best interest to make sure you have your own safe money retirement?
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Obviously, by contacting us now, you are only taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified, licensed insurance professional. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Interest and other guarantees in annuity contracts are subject to the claims-paying ability of the insurance carrier that issued the contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.